We found this property on Google Earth on a Thursday based on the attributes. And it was because it had 9 miles of river and a cotton field and lots of ag, and that's all we knew about it. We knew the owners loosely. Said next month we're going to call them and see if they'll sell this ranch because they don't have many properties in this part of Texas, and it was kind of an anomaly. 1 or 2 days later, I'm walking into the office, and a friend of mine in Atlanta, Georgia calls and says, hey, I've been working with a client out of Macon, Georgia. It's kind of random, but I got this ranch on a river in Texas you might want to look at. And as soon as he said Macon, I knew who it was, and I said, wait, stop, Charlie. I decided to buy this last Thursday. I'm going to send you a map. And he's like, we just talked to the CFO yesterday and decided to call you about this. You couldn't know. So I sent him the screenshot. I don't even understand. This is weird. Do y'all have our office tap? So we decided to buy it on a Thursday. As the buyer, they called us unbeknownst on a Friday or a Monday to see if we wanted to buy it. And it all happened 30 days later. We were buying a ranch. It's nuts. One of the key things that we did immediately was call Michael with Southern Reds and said, hey, why don't you come see if this can be a new playground for you and see if you can put this place back together for us.
The first thing that we noticed when we came here is this place has got unbelievable soil. It had not been really managed very well, hadn't been maintained. And at one time I would have liked to have seen this thing 30, 40 years ago. Like everybody around here that grew up here, they talk about this place. It was nearly mythical. When you start hearing those things, you're like, well, the potential's there. And, I tell everybody it was treated like a glorified hunting camp. Nothing maintained, improvements, water flow, roads, anything. And I mean, you still see some of that today. This place is a work in progress. But the great thing about it, the stuff that's really important, is the ability to have all the biodiversity. Later on this weekend, the river's going to get out and get up close to the levee. We're going to learn some things. How do we utilize that information and not set the place back? Thankfully, even if we make a slight mistake, we'll be able to recover very quickly. On this property, there's about 2,200 acres of open ground, and last year we got about 1,700 acres of it planted. And the only thing that we didn't plant were some of the lower duck ground. It just got too wet. We plan to continue that every fall. We will oversee this in something different, and we'll try to increase diversity. We just want to see, from our cattle perspective, we want a salad bar. We want a buffet of just all different things. I mean, that's what gets me excited, and you'll see that today. If I see a monoculture or grass that is not healthy for me or you or our cattle, and then we believe forage diversity has links to human health. And I think we're just now really learning what that is.
The connection we've got to quality food, to human health, that's part of all this, part of what we're doing. It's part of the excitement about what we're doing and the kind of investments we're making.
We operate cattle, but we're also hunters and conservationists. So when we look at a property, we look at it more from ecosystem standpoint, and that's exactly how Terry and Kyle look at it. How can we raise a beef product off of this and be a positive for the land and conservation and for the resources that are out here? And that's a tricky thing, and we take that to heart whenever we come to a property. We're not improving it for cattle, we're improving the ecosystem here. And honestly, on a place like this that has a lot of the animals already, it just needs a chance to get out of the way and do light management. We let Mother Nature kind of run its course with our cattle. We give them good healthy grass, good healthy water. We've culled the cattle over time that haven't worked, and now we've got a herd of cattle that really fit what we believe is right as far as good forage, good water. We weren't planning on getting into the grass-fed niche. Is because we raise cattle like that, they work very well for the grass finishing side of the beef industry. We've been very fortunate to win some awards for some of the top seed stock in the grass-fed side of the business. We really just had holistic mindset on our cattle. A lot of your larger grass-fed operations, they come to us for genetics. Our main business is selling bulls and females into that market, and so we have some really innovative operators in our circle, and we all kind of feed off each other because you have to kind of learn from each other and grow.
This is more what we call a silvopasture, where we're thinning the trees to get more sunlight down to the ground so we can start seeing more herbaceous material come up. It's thin, pretty heavy. This is not normal if we were actually trying to grow a big log for saw timber and sell it down the road. When we first pulled off the main road, you could see the trees were a lot more dense than they are where we're standing now. So that part of the property had been thinned years ago, the first time, and now we're coming in behind it with a little bit different plan. It was originally thinned for production, whereas this is more biodiversity. What we're trying to do is improve opportunity for wildlife, and then we're also planning to hopefully run cattle in here.
As Chris said, if we were trying to really focus on growing big saw logs, we would have more trees per acre here, much higher densities, and it would be a completely different thinning regime. But since we're trying to go in a direction for biodiversity, silvopasture, and multi-use for grazing and wildlife, we want more sunlight on the ground. And because our end user, when we sell the ranch, is probably going to be a recreation-oriented person, we want this to come across as if you're looking at the golf course. So there is biological value, but a lot of this is done purely for aesthetics in mind. And we would not do this if we were trying to maximize fiber production.
We used a brush cutter to mow kind of invasive brush and let some of the undergrowth come back that we really want, that's positive for the species we're aiming for. We use a no-till drill a lot, planted some very diverse mixes with clovers and legumes. You'll see a purple flower, you'll see a crimson clover. It's not very hard to get that stuff going if the soil's right. You need to manage it. And a lot of people in our business, unfortunately, they will plant those things and then they just manage it just for cattle and they just graze it in the dirt. And that's not what we're about. We do want to raise a protein product, but there's a way to do it to where it's a positive. We want our cattle to utilize a lot of the forages that a lot of the wildlife don't need, or maybe that's in abundance. Like right now, you see a lot of ryegrass on the place. We want our cattle to use a lot of that and open it up for a lot of the warm season grasses to come in that are more beneficial for other wildlife species. We're careful how we mow a place. We're very conscious of nesting species and bugs. You have to be really delicate how you mow, when you mow. Same with fire or anything else. It's a great tool, but the timing's everything. And so it's nice to be partnered with people that understand that and that embrace that and they understand what we're doing. Like especially our goal now is, okay, we've seen this much growth. We want to keep that progressing forward.